What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the BREWtally Speaking Podcast. I am one of your hosts, John, and with me, as always, is Daniel Terry. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good, because I am having the art of neurosis.
Yeah, you were actually talking about that a while ago that I should check that out. I'm going to play a fun game. I have two beers from the same company. I have a Blackberry Cobbler. That's a sour with
That's a pie, John, not a beer.
Yep, but it's a beer from Martin House Brewing. And then
That's fair.
Same with the other one I have is a lemon icebox pie. It's a lemon sour ale with graham crackers and lactose. What would you like to see me open on this?
I mean, open up the pie.
Well, they're both pie.
Open up the Blackberry Pie.
All right. Let's see how this goes. There we go. Holy shit, that's really good. It's got a really nice graham cracker flavor. It works really well with the lactose in it, too.
I don't think I've ever tasted graham cracker in...
Wow, that's really good. It's funny. I've been saying Mark has been sending me all these sour beers and so forth, and a lot of them I'm just kind of like, that's okay. This actually is actually a really good one. And then for those who maybe have saw our socials the last couple of days, I have the remainder of my Evan Williams Patriotic,
Ooh,
or half gallon, whatever the fuck that is. So if you see me drinking out of this guy, that's what that is. For those watching at home.
On the next episode, I am going to be trying this Casimire's. I don't know. Anyway, it's a Baltic porter. It's like chocolate and caramel.
I love Baltic porters.
It should be pretty interesting to see how that goes. It's a little floofy for me, so we'll see how it goes.
Speaking of things that are not floofy, this episode's guest is Chris Garza, guitarist of Suicide Silence. This is really fun. They are basically just killing the game right now as far as what to do during a pandemic and how you can be a band in it. And they are actually, I think it started today as of when we're recording this, so a couple of days after you'll hear this. But they started their world tour, their virtual world tour. Just quick plug, you can go to ssvirtualtour.com, get tickets if they are in your quote-unquote area. It's a geo-fenced live stream, so if you are within the area that you can stream it, you can check out the show. And it's them doing a show, Q&A, skits. Sounds like it's a really all-immersive experience, so I definitely am looking forward to trying to check one out if I can. But I mean, as we kind of joked and said with Blasco on the Instagram Live we did a while ago, these guys win. I mean, no one else has done this. Closest you've seen is like those drive-in shows and just the basically empty venue shows. But I mean, as far as being able to tour, quote unquote, and internationally, these guys have got to figure it out. Yeah,
this is crazy, really, and just the way they've just kind of circumvented the norm, I guess, so to speak.
Well, it definitely makes me wonder, like, will we see this even when touring comes back? Because I mean, like, some of the places they're hitting aren't places that bands usually financially can go to. So maybe this is a way around that, to do something, really cool for the fans abroad that, maybe won't get to see them in a traditional sense.
Right.
But this might become a new avenue for bands, to do something kind of cool when they're home and it doesn't really require a whole lot. I know there's probably a lot of things that got to get ironed out. Like I said, I think tonight is the first night they were doing their shows. Chris was doing some Instagram lives earlier this morning, and seemed like everything's going pretty well. But I haven't been able to see a feed, so who knows? I'd be interested to see the feedback and what people thought of it. But as a whole, I just can't say it enough. This is such a just out of the box way to think of how to fix and alleviate the I can't tour to make money. What do we do? And it's just so fucking ingenious.
Yeah, no, this is cool. Something else cool I noticed, and this is not really Suicide Silence related, but I noticed that Under Oath is doing a series of concerts where they're going to play. I mean, it's going to be a live stream. It's not going to be a concert, but But they're selling like tickets to the live stream, and if you get a ticket, you also have the option to pre-order vinyl releases of the albums that they're playing.
I didn't see that.
So
part.
yeah. So it's it's gonna be, so you can buy it's like $70. It's like actually really on the cheapo. For 3 records. It's for Define the Great Line, Chasing Safety, and that other one, Lost in the Sounds of Separation. So yeah, I mean, for $70 to get those 3 records, I mean, they're hard to get on vinyl anyway. So I thought that was really smart. I was like, yeah, they're charging for live stream access. That's kind of definitely makes sense, but definitely really different. But it was cool that they're offering up like the vinyl as well as, you know, tickets to the live stream.
It's been kind of crazy. I've been noticing like Emery looks like they're going to do a re-record of I'm Only a Man and put that on vinyl, which is my favorite record of theirs. The new vinyl for their latest record just looks like it's just getting ready to ship out as of some Instagram photos and so forth. And I just saw Fit for a King actually is getting ready to put out a record in about a month.
Yeah, I mean, it really doesn't seem like things are slowing down much. At least from my perspective. I mean, yeah, the live portion of things is slowed down, obviously, and by slowed down, I mean stopped completely. But yeah, like so many great releases are coming out just this year, and I think it's good. I mean, we got what, Testament, Lamb of God, the American Arson record that just came out is really good. New End, oh god, yeah. So I mean, like, there's so much stuff, and there's something even better that we'll get into the next episode that we can't really actually talk about, but just, you know, keep your eyes and ears open.
And without further ado, let's get into my conversation with Chris Garza, and we'll talk to you afterwards. I have the pleasure of talking to Chris Garza this morning of Suicide Silence, who are about a week away now from doing their virtual world tour. Gotta say, actually, I think it was about a week or two ago, Blasco from Ozzy's band and I were doing an Instagram Live, and we basically came to the conclusion that you guys have won the pandemic and how to work around it as a touring band. So this is a brilliant fucking idea. How did this idea come about?
Honored. Well, the idea birthed from our longtime manager, Jerry Club, which he's basically like our sixth Beatle. And it was actually his idea. And we didn't want to do anything because of the pandemic. You know, like we didn't want to do any like knee-jerk reactions just to stay afloat. You know, I would rather be broke and just not tour. You know, or just you know, I don't want any knee-jerk reactions. So when he came up with this idea, we're like, whoa, that's fresh.
It absolutely is.
Then we fucking attacked it.
How long did this take to work out logistically? Because, I mean, even thinking about it, I mean, Blasco had more of an idea, obviously, given the fact that he, you know, is a manager and kind of tours and so forth. But I know when you guys announced this, I was just trying to figure out, like, how logistically do you even start the process of making sure that you can do all this?
That's the big question, and everything is happening in real time. Like we're literally, it's like all the small things. There's so many small things.
I can imagine.
you know, and there's no one to call. Like there's no roadmap. So we're all just figuring this thing out, and on a daily basis for the past few months. And it's definitely something that you can't just hop in and do because it's happening. Like it's a lot of hard work. And so yeah, we're still trying to grasp the whole idea.
Have you guys done any like dry runs of this?
So this tour starts in a week, and yesterday we just moved in to the rehearsal studio that we're doing it in. So I think by today we're probably going to start doing something because we're almost done with the whole setup, and then we're going to, you know. But we're lucky with the people that we have involved with this whole project. You know, everyone that's involved is literally like has been involved with the band for like literally like a decade plus. So our circles are very, very tight, and they're all the best at what they do. So that's making things a tad bit easier.
So this might be a stupid question. You know, I know from booking shows myself that, you know, putting on a tour, you know, obviously there are show proposals and so forth, and basically you're submitting for dates and so forth in different markets and all that kind of stuff. Is there kind of the same thing going on? Is there a promoter of sorts that's kind of working with you to make sure that these things are maybe through social media, marketing and so forth, kind of acting as promoters, or is it just straight up like you guys picked markets that thought would work, or based on online polls and so forth, and it's kind of very DIY from you guys to figure out where you were going to go with these?
Yeah, well, we picked all the dates based out of dates we had to postpone with Ginger, and like the Asian run we had it with Slipknot. We had to pretty much like postpone those, so we wanted kind of to target those territories first, and then it is a combination of us and local promoters that have that could just post something, so it's all happening in real time. So we have obviously promoters that are fans that are probably just posting like some pictures here and there, and that's a big help for us.
Part of the thing that's interesting is how immersive of an experience you guys are making this beyond just the actual show. Doing, as it's saying, there's going to be some creative skits, and you guys are doing Q&As and merchandise and all that kind of stuff that you're doing with this to treat it as much like a real show as you possibly can. And I'm kind of wondering with the skits, is this an aspect maybe that you've always wanted to bring out and incorporate somehow into the band's content, but maybe just didn't have a vehicle for it initially? Yeah,
and I'm really curious how this whole thing's going to evolve. But it's basically like it's evolving to what will part of the future will be is Suicide Silence TV.
Okay.
And just from basically what I'm, obviously we're all watching live streams and kind of gathering what we don't want to do, which we know I don't like watching a live stream. I think it's fucking boring, to be honest. So you just can't just play and then go home, and that to me that's not worth the ticket. But if you kind of make it a experience and people can interact, and then once people see it, it's gonna be like, oh, okay.
Yeah, It's just interesting, it kind of reminds me of a lot of things I've seen over the years. Like, part of that kind of reminds me of like the Korn and Stained and Mindless Self-Indulgence tour way back in the day, where they partnered up with Spike and Mike and did like cartoons kind of between.
Dude, that was sick. I saw that tour.
Yeah, and so when I saw that, I kind of was like, oh fuck, this kind of feels like that Korn Sick and Twisted tour, where it's like, it's your attention's never like, well, fuck, I guess the band's, it's tear down, set up, changeover thing. I'm going to go get a beer and piss real quick. It's like, no, there's shit you can still do and be entertained by in the downtime. And to me, I kind of think that it's interesting that I'm kind of surprised more bands haven't tried doing that even in a live setting, where there's kind of something keeping your attention at all time to get more bang for the buck.
Totally, yeah. I think we were actually talking about that show last time we chatted. Yeah, it's kind of like when you get older, or even first when you're young, you kind of do things subconsciously that you learn from your heroes. So I guess like things like that we're doing now, kind of like maybe have been inspired for like past things that you see. Maybe that tour inspired something without even knowing. It's just it's crazy. Yeah, having like things go in between songs. If you kind of think about it, that's been done before. Like if you think about like live DVDs, like you watch like Slipknot's like the Disaster Pieces, or like the Family Values 98. I love like watching like a couple live songs from the band, and then they'll go to like some funny like backstage stuff that's just dumb, but it's funny, and I love seeing it as like like a 12-year-old kid, and then you do then you see like the empty arenas. It's all like a behind the scenes. You go right back to the live show, and it's kind of maybe it's just a modern version of that.
Yeah, it definitely kind of has similar vibes potentially of being something akin to like the Pantera home videos from our youth.
Totally.
Totally. With this actually being filmed, and a lot of the things I would assume being pre-filmed to kind of to go along with the full presentation, is there plans to kind of make this eventually a quote-unquote live DVD that fans will later on be able to purchase after you're kind of able to maybe put it all together like a live DVD where like, man, this show, fuck, we were so on, and kind of piecing together a full experience and maybe even kind of a behind the scenes of everything kind of happening. Is there plans to do that, or is that anything you guys have talked about?
Yeah, there's things being talked about. And as far as like the shows we're doing now, that's pretty much like, it's all going to be one time thing. So it's very, exclusive, but maybe something we could do right after the tour. Maybe we could film one, and then who knows. But as far as these dates that are up right now, it's definitely 100% like a one-time thing. If you don't see that show, then like you're probably never going to see it again. But maybe after these dates, we'll film something that like everyone can see at some point.
Being the fact that you guys are going through this, and I feel like there's a lot of people who are going to watch how this plays out. Do you think that this is going to be a viable option, maybe for you guys or people in bands in general, basically, to do something like this in between tours to hit markets that maybe you're not financially able to, especially overseas, to do that currently, and maybe have this be a way to kind of reach an audience that you're not able to currently? Yeah,
I mean, it's obviously, I can't, see the future, but it's very open for it to evolve into whatever it's going to evolve in, and as we're talking, I have an iPhone 11 in my hand, I'm talking to like this rectangular thing, I'm sure like 20 years ago, this seemed pretty impossible, so cell phones and iPhones, that shit ain't going to happen. Sure enough, here I have one in my hand. So, at this point, it's the gates are wide open. And all we did is pretty much like run through it, and we're figuring this all out and doing it the best we can and making it sick. And I think it's going to evolve into something pretty special. And we're honored to be like the front runners of this whole thing.
Do you feel like a lot of other bands will probably follow in your footsteps, and we'll start seeing more of these virtual world tours start popping up once yours is done?
Well, if something happens once, it's bound to happen again. And I wouldn't be surprised, if this is like a new way, then so be it. That's cool. Honored to be a part of it.
I don't really recall anyone being shitty about this, but it's fucking the internet, so I would imagine someone's gonna fucking shit all over it. But did you receive any like much backlash about this, or was it really a lot of people just being like, wow, this is actually a really fucking good idea and there's nothing to bash? Because why would you bash something so smart, especially given the fact that everyone else is just like, well, fuck it, I guess we can't do nothing.
I mean, from my circle of peers, it seems like everyone's kind of supportive of it, and you can't really bash something you don't really know. No one really knows what's about to happen. Neither do we. So it's it's so fresh of an idea. Like you can't just really go out and say like it sucks, because no one really knows what they're saying sucks. Yeah, it's funny.
One of the other aspects that's pretty cool about this, I think, is the fact that you're allowing the fans to partake and requesting the songs for the set list. Have you been seeing some maybe like really deep cuts that maybe you've been like, holy shit, people want to hear this?
Yeah, we've been rehearsing prior to even going into the studio, like songs that like if someone could call out, we're going to be able to play it. So yeah, we've been going into some deep cuts from the first record to our brand new one. Like we've been like doing like the deep cuts that we haven't even played live ever, and that we enjoy playing. So yeah, I think if someone calls out a song, we're going to be able to play it. And that's probably something that you like couldn't do in like a live show.
It's funny because I know like one of my favorite bands is Every Time I Die, and I know that they have a quote-unquote set list, it'll be on the stage with them, but they're more oftentimes than not, I've seen that band, like, they'll kind of huddle together in between a song, and you'll hear a song, and it's definitely not what is supposed to be next, and I know that band kind of prides themselves on being able to do an audible like that and just kind of be able to play whatever based on whatever the room or the vibe is kind of hitting you with in that moment. And so I'm kind of wondering, as a result of, maybe you guys taking the time to learn some of these extra songs that you haven't thought over or haven't even played maybe ever, do you see potential maybe when you go back to touring in general that maybe you'll kind of allow for a little bit more spontaneity like that and maybe not be so locked in onto a traditional set list? Yeah,
I mean, as far as us, we kind of need to have a set list of things run pretty, not smoothly, but there's just songs that people want to hear and that you just got to play. Like, and we're blessed enough. We're blessed to be kind of like a band that has like a larger list of songs that you just got to put in the set list, or people will get pissed off. Because people pay people pay their hard-earned money for a ticket, you know, and I know, like, when I see a band play and they don't play some songs, I get fucking pissed. So, man, I got in the shower, I put on clothes, and I drove in my car and left my house to go see you guys, and you guys didn't play my fucking favorite song. Been there, man. And I definitely don't want to be, you know, that band that doesn't play those tunes. And, you know, it's for us, again, like, it's just a blessing that is like a large chunk, and it's hard. Every set list that we make, it's hard to take out songs. Oh shit, we want to play this song, we gotta play that song. It's tough.
This is kind of a really stupid question, but I mean, you know, we were sort of just talking a couple minutes ago about the internet and backlash and people always just shitting on things just seemingly to do it. Have you gotten the typical, oh, what the fuck, you're not playing insert whatever city here, even with this in this medium?
Yeah, you know, like you're always gonna get that, and sometimes, like, which, dude, it happens to me all the time still. Where, like, you know, a band would, you know, let's say, like, I'm jamming Hatebreed, like I get into my Hatebreed kick, and they played LA like the night before. I'm like, dude, what the fuck? How did I not know that? And then, like, I'm always just, like, waiting for them, like, to come back. So, yeah, I mean, I totally get it. Of, like, someone says, like, you know, oh, come here, and, like, you were, like, just there, like, a week prior. You know, I mean, it happens. You know,
I think you might be one of the few people I've ever heard that actually understands that argument a little bit, where you're like, fuck, I didn't know they were there, versus usually everyone else being like, come on, man, I was just there. Like, you got to do your part
Get
too.
it.
Like, that, you know, you're at least willing to own up as the fan of a band and being like, I fucked up, and and not putting it back onto the band.
Dude, totally. It's all, yeah. I mean, it happened to me recently with Dave Matthews Band, and a band like that doesn't tour often. So, like, I remember I was on, like, the Dave Matthews kick, and they were in LA or in SoCal like a week prior. I'm like, fuck, and I know they're not gonna be back for another 3 years. You know, it's funny, man.
Other than Dave Matthews, this might be a fun, odd question. What is a band, like a bucket list band, that you maybe haven't seen or haven't gotten to see in a very long time that might surprise people that you're into?
Oh, there's a lot. Yeah, there's Dave Matthews Band, obviously. A big one I want to see is Red Hot Chili Peppers, and they just got back John Frusciante, which is he's one of my favorite guitar players, to definitely in top 5. He came back like 6 months ago, so like, I cannot wait till they come play SoCal, and that's gonna sound heavy, dude.
Out of curiosity, have you ever thought about doing a different project? Because it sounds like in the 2 times you and I have talked now, you've mentioned so many bands that are not in the style of what you're known for, but I don't really recall ever seeing you play in a band or doing anything that would kind of be more in some of these, I don't want to say jam bands, but, you know, they're kind of loose jam bands between Dave Matthews and Chili Peppers to a degree. Is that something maybe that you would like to start eventually, is maybe kind of doing like a kind of jazz funky kind of band down the road?
Totally, yeah. I'm not sure about the style, but yes, doing like a side project or some other project has been on my mind. But then once I put my mind to it, I just end up playing, like, I'm so just engulfed in Suicide Silence that, like, I'm always writing those kind of riffs, and I'm always practicing, I'm always playing, then those riffs just come out, and then you're always always prepping for a record or a tour, or now we're doing the virtual world tour. It's just always kind of something there where I just don't even have time. I don't have like the mental and emotional capacity yet to like start something new. It's kind of a bummer, but hopefully sometime I could do something.
Well, we'll look forward to maybe hearing something else. Looking forward to catching one of these shows for the virtual world tour. Where can everyone find you or the band? Yeah,
we're on all of them. Check us out on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, all that good stuff. And maybe MySpace still out there somewhere. We're pretty much all over the internet, man. And I'm starting to post more. So my personal Instagram is just Chris Garza, and that's my IG tag. I pretty much do my best to answer every message and comment and stuff, and post some behind the scenes shit. So it's cool. If you guys want to catch me there, then hit me up.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for taking the time, and enjoy the rest of your day, and looking forward to the tour.
You too, man. Hopefully you hang out with some friends and just have some beers and have some laughs. All right, brother. Later, man.
So that was my conversation with Chris Garza of Suicide Silence. I mean, you know, we just kind of keep beating the dead horse on that, which is something we love doing on this show. But man, again, I love the fact that even the band, like even Chris is like, yeah, I don't really know how this is going to go. We're just as excited to see how this goes too. And, even when I was like, do you see a lot of bands possibly looking at what you're doing and biting your idea? And he's just like, oh, people, do this and run with it. We, obviously we're the first to do it, so, flattered and all that kind of stuff. And what was funny is he actually made a comment, and I had been thinking about it since, and just the visual of the idea of, basically he was talking about, like, we were the first ones through the door, and we're just kind of trying to figure out what we can do. And I just had a visual representation of, like, the band, like, busting through this door and being the first somewhere, and they're all just literally looking around trying to figure out, like, now what, where do we go? And the idea that is, as stupid as that is of a thought and idea, it has been very amusing when people have been using that same analogy of, like, we were the first to do something or whatever, and just kind of thinking of just that, like, holy shit, now what aspect of, like, when you find somewhere new. But yeah, so I'm really hoping that I can catch one of these shows. I think the closest it's technically coming to me is Indiana. So I don't know if I'm geo-locked out being here in Michigan, but I would assume, that was something I didn't necessarily get into, but it sounded like when I kind of started asking some more technical questions as to how everything was working, it didn't seem like Chris really knew. It was more of the people they probably hired to handle the technical side of all that shit. So, because I wanted to be like, so Indiana or whatever is the closest you guys are to me, which is a couple hours away, am I going to be able to see it or no? Because otherwise, there's not another show, quote unquote, where I could watch it. But I don't know. And even on the website, if you, again, go to ssvirtualtour.com, it doesn't necessarily really explain how the geofencing works, like where the boundaries are. Like, there's not, as far as I could see, there's not like a map with, like, if you live here, you can catch this show, and then kind of give you like a nice radius of like what show you should buy the ticket to.
Right, yeah. Yeah, it all seems very complicated at this juncture, and we're just going to have to see how it ends up working out, I
do hope they put it out as a DVD or something live down the road. I think that'd be really cool.
I'm sure they're all looking for reasons or ways to make money, so,
Yeah, I don't know. It's just this whole time period has just been so interesting to see what people are doing, how they're adapting. Zayo basically is seemingly re-releasing everything they've ever done, period, ever, on vinyl now.
They're trying to. I think in their case, it was more just they would do a vinyl. Like, every time Zay releases anything on vinyl, it sells out in like 8 minutes. So that's been kind of an ongoing thing. And I think the most frustrating part of it is that, like, a lot of the times I miss out on that 8 minutes. It's frustrating, but I think with the stuff they've released now, I think eventually, their goal is to have everything out there, but like actually be available, not just be like a, well, you missed it. Sorry that you were at work or whatever, but you missed out. Yeah,
that's also the crazy thing about the Suicide Silence thing is if you look at some of these other countries that they're playing in, some of the times are a bit wonky for watching a metal show.
It's a little weird, but I think some of it's just done under the assumption that people aren't out doing anything anyway.
Yeah, I guess.
Which, I hate to say it, is kind of it's sadly a misnomer, because most people lately, at least where I live, it's just the way like everybody just kind of goes about their normal daily lives.
Absolutely. Well, speaking of going on with your daily lives, let's wrap up this episode so you can get back to yours. If you would like to keep up with Suicide Silence, it is really easy. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, at Suicide Silence. If you would like to follow Chris on Instagram, you can find him at his name, Chris Garza. He has been a little bit more active doing the Instagram lives and so forth, so solid follow. Pops in and out every now and again, and I'm sure he'll be a lot busier pumping these live shows and so forth. Again, if you want to buy a ticket to the live show, go to ssvirtualtour.com, purchase your ticket there if it's in your area. And now Dan will tell you where he can be found in your area on the interwebs, and he's not geo-fenced in.
Well, I'm pretty much worldwide. You don't have to get a VPN to get around me, You can find me on Twitter at DiscussMetalDan. You can find me on Facebook under Daniel Terry, and you can also find my other podcast, Discography Discussion, at DiscussMetal.com.
And if you would like to keep up with all things this podcast, you can find us simply enough at BrewSpeakPod. Head on over to our website, BrewSpeakPod.com. everything, one-stop shop over there for the podcast. Get some swag from our store, get some pins. We still got them. And anything that you would want to see and know about our show is over there. I think it looks great. Thanks to Jen again over at Purple Jen. She created the website. There's a link to her business. If you guys need a website being built or whatever, head on over there. Super affordable, super quick turnaround. Couldn't have asked for a better person to help us with this. And speaking of help and people we couldn't do this without, obviously our sponsors. Want to thank the Bean Bastard for always supporting us, lacing us with the most delicious coffee. And I'm not even the biggest coffee drinker, so you know it's good. Probably going to place another order here and get some extra goodies to do a giveaway, probably for some reviews or whatever. So be on the lookout for that, and maybe I'll finally get Dan a bag.
Yeah, dude, seriously, I'm like falling asleep over here.
And also want to thank Maddie Mullins and On Point Pomade. They are keeping our beards and hair on point. Again, I'll probably have to get some more of that, send Dan some of that as well. And maybe get Maddie on to do something with us soon. I know he'd been talking about it, but he's been too busy grilling, making just the most delicious looking food porn over on his Instagram. He's got one of those nice Traeger grills. I need to get one.
That sounds really nice.
Yeah, it does. And so thanks to On Point Pomade. Use our code BSP15. Save 15% off your total purchase order. Keep your beard and hair looking on point. And lastly but not leastly is rockabilia.com. Want to thank them for supporting us during this time. Head on over to their website where you will find over 500,000 items for sale. They have pretty much anything you could possibly want. I'm sure there's Suicide Silence stuff. I haven't looked, but I mean, everything that we've posted so far, episode-wise, they have.
Pretty sure all your wildest dreams will come true.
I mean, we can help you make that an affordable dream by using our code BREW15 and saving 15% off your total purchase order. That can't be combined with the pop-up ad that shows up for a 10% off, just so you're aware. So use our code, help us out, support us, and support Rockabilia. And another great thing about this, especially during these pandemic times, you don't have to worry about the integrity of the products. They are 100% officially licensed through the bands. So not only are you supporting Rockabilia, but you're supporting the bands that you love as well. So it's a win-win-win all the way across the board. So thank you to all of our sponsors, and thank you for supporting us. And for the BREWtally Speaking Podcast, I am John.
And I am Dan.
We will talk to you all next week for our 250th episode.
It's going to be a banger. Don't miss it.
Fucking sucked. Oh, that fucking sucked. Shao Kahn, what'd you think?
That was pathetic.
Yeah. Coach, what'd you think? Okay. I mean, I knew it was gonna fucking suck, but I think those guys were a little rude. Austin Powers?
How about no?
Okay, I thought we were gonna get the Austin Powers vote. We did not. John, use that for your podcast. It fucking sucks, but you knew what you were getting into. It's your own fault. It will result in less listens. You're gonna see a decline in listeners if you start the show with that. You're gonna see 30 seconds in, the number will plummet. And I will be there at the bottom of the plummet saying, I fucking told you, don't use this fucking riff. It sucks. But it's yours.